You know that tiny Lego brick, the one you've definitely stepped on in the middle of the night? Well, it's not just a menace to your feet. It's actually the hero of a corporate survival story that is absolutely wild. Today, we're diving into how the Lego Group built a global empire, nearly lost it all, and is now trying to build a better world one brick at a time. And trust me, by the end of this, you will never look at that little plastic block the same way again. I know, it sounds completely insane, right? Lego is, well, it's Lego. It's a cultural giant. But just over 2 decades ago, the entire company was right on the edge of total collapse. And figuring out how they got there, and more importantly, how they clawed their way back, is the real key to understanding everything they're trying to do today. So let's rewind the clock. We're going all the way back to 1932, to a little workshop in Denmark, and a carpenter named Ole Kirk Christensen. He wasn't trying to build some global empire. He was 41, the Great Depression was hitting hard, and he just needed to survive. So he pivoted from making furniture to making small, simple wooden toys. And this right here, this moment basically defines the entire company's spirit. So one of Oak Perk's early successes was a wooden yo-yo. But when that fad died out, he was left with a warehouse packed with them. Instead of seeing a huge financial loss, he saw raw materials. He had his workers chop the yo-yos in half, and just like that, they became wheels for his next toy. This creative thinking became their motto. There are no problems, only challenges. And things started moving fast. In 34, he comes up with the name Lego, which comes from the Danish words leggot, meaning play well. He had no idea that in Latin, Lego also means I put together. Talk about a happy accident. Then, in 47, he takes this huge gamble. He buys a plastic injection molding machine, which cost a fifth of the company's entire annual earnings. An insane risk. But it paid off, and by 1958, they filed the patent for that perfect interlocking brick we all know and love. All of this was driven by this incredibly demanding motto. Not just the best, but the best isn't good enough. It's this obsession with quality and precision that means a brick made way back in 1958 will still click perfectly with one that just came off the assembly line today. So, how did this little workshop build an actual empire? Well, with that perfect brick as its foundation, the company was about to enter its golden age. For the next 4 decades, it was a total fairy tale. The company's growth was just relentless. They expanded all over the globe, gave us the iconic minifigure, and created legendary themes like castle and space that basically defined childhood for millions. Lego was a household name. They seemed completely invincible. Or so everyone. Because this is where our story takes a really sharp, dramatic turn. The fairy tale was about to become a full-on corporate nightmare. So here's the thing. On the outside, Lego looked stronger than ever. But on the inside, the whole empire was starting to crumble. They'd kind of lost their way. They were diversifying into everything. Legoland theme parks, clothes, video games. And they forgot that their real superpower was, and always had been, the brick. By the early 2000s, the company was in a full-blown crisis, just hemorrhaging money. They were facing an economic storm they were totally unprepared for. It got so bad that in 2004, they had to launch this radical do-or-die turnaround plan just to keep the lights on and stop themselves from going bankrupt. After surviving that near-death experience, the company refocused on its core product with an almost ruthless efficiency. But that victory led them straight into their next great challenge: what to do about the very plastic that built their empire in the first place. You know, the push for this new mission didn't come out of some stuffy boardroom meeting. It came from the mailroom. Kids, their most loyal fans, started writing letters asking the people who made their favorite toy to please, please take better care of the planet. And you know what? Lego listened. And they are not just talking the talk. In 2024 alone, they cranked up their spending on environmental projects by a massive 68% compared to the year before. They are putting some serious cash behind this mission. And you can see here, it's actually starting to make a difference. In 2024, half of all the raw materials they bought came from more sustainable sources. Now, most of that, 47%, comes from this thing called mass balance. So, what on earth is mass balance? Okay, let me break this down. Think of it like this. Say you have a giant tank of whole milk. You pour in some certified skim milk. Now, in your final glass of milk, you can't pick out the individual skim milk molecules, but you have successfully lowered the overall fat content of the entire batch. Mass balance is kind of like that, but for plastic. Suppliers mix renewable materials, like used cooking oil, in with the traditional fossil fuels. This reduces the total demand for new oil across the board, pushing the whole industry in a greener direction. Even if the one brick in your hand isn't 100% bio-based, at least not yet. And it's not just about the plastic. This is about transforming their entire operation. I mean, look at this. We've gone from those simple early molding machines to these massive solar fields that are now powering their factories. It's an incredible leap across decades of technology and really a change in philosophy. And their goals are seriously ambitious. They're even science-based. They've publicly committed to cutting their absolute greenhouse gas emissions by 37% by 2032, with the ultimate goal of hitting net zero by 2050. These are huge company-defining targets. But this new mission goes way beyond just making a greener brick. It's about making sure the brick itself continues to be a powerful force for good in the world. The scale of their impact is just staggering. Just last year, their social responsibility and learning through play programs reached over 12 million children. This is about using their global platform to bring the power of play to kids who need it the most. They're also using the toys themselves to try and build a more inclusive world. For instance, they introduced minifigures that wear the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower lanyard. It's a subtle symbol that tells people the wearer might need a little extra support or patience. It's a tiny plastic detail that can start big, important conversations about empathy. And finally, it's all about making sure a Lego brick never, ever becomes waste. It starts with step 1, designing them to be basically indestructible, so they can be passed down for generations. Step 2, they actively encourage you to pass them on. And step 3, if you can't, programs like Lego Replay will take them back, clean them up, and donate them to children in need, keeping every single brick in play for as long as humanly possible. So, from a small Danish workshop that turned failure into innovation, to a global icon that stared bankruptcy in the face and fought its way back, the Lego story has always been about one thing: building. Now, they're trying to build a more sustainable, more inclusive future. The only question left is, what does that little brick inspire us to build for ours?